Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this quick webinar on AI for finance and FP&A. AI, as we all know, is impacting almost every field, some a little bit more, some a little bit less. But finance has to gear up for AI as well. And we have been conducting a lot of experiments on AI at FP&A Professionals Institute over the last 1 year, and we'll try and share some of the use cases with you all today. Hopefully, you will get some great takeaways from this quick webinar as well. A little bit about us before we begin with. First of all, thank you for your trust. Taking out 60 minutes of from your busy schedule is important because AI is such an important topic today. And pat yourselves on the back for taking action. You see a Harvard study says that less than 3% of the people take active action to develop their careers. And no wonder 3% of the people are leading the world's organizations. So pat yourselves on the back for taking that action. Make sure that you stay through till the very end. We have some interesting use cases for you on AI for finance and FP&A. A little bit about us before we begin with. My name is Dhawal. I'm a qualified chartered accountant. I've also completed my 1-year general management program from IIM Ahmedabad. Over the last 16 years, I've served as a CFO in India and across the Middle East, across various sectors like oil and gas, software services, advertising and PR, and commodity trading. I'm now the co-founder and lead faculty at FP&A Professionals Institute. Over the last 5 years, I've been an active mentor and an online trainer, and I have trained more than 5,000 professionals on various topics like FP&A, finance, business partnering, CFO career coaching, and much more. Over the last 12 months or so, I've had this incredible opportunity to meet at least 200 CFOs in various events. A lot of events I have organized, or somewhere I've gone in as a speaker, as a host, as a keynote speaker, or as a panelist. And I think it's been an incredibly rewarding experience to build a community of more than 200 CFOs. And increasingly, CFOs are battling with this challenge to hire the right kind of finance and FP&A talent, especially those who are tech-driven and AI-driven FP&A talent. I'm joined by my co-founder, Asif Masani. Asif, a quick introduction from your end.
Thank you so much, Sal, for having me. Quickly about me. So I've been working in finance specifically for over a decade now. I started my career in audit back in 2010 and then moved into FP&A in 2013 and have been working in FP&A since then in different companies, different industries. Also I've written two best-selling books, Amazon best-selling books on FP&A that you see on the screen. And in 2022, 2023, we founded FP&A Professionals, which became FP&A Professionals Institute. And this is what we have been doing over the last 3 years now. So a little bit about the institute, but before that, what we try to do here is we not only bring our experience of FP&A, but we try to bring in all the experience that we can get from across the globe, whether it be connecting with experts from North America, Middle East, Europe. We try to bring all of those expertise through our courses, certifications, webinars, guest sessions, books, podcasts, whatever we do at FPNA Professional Institute. And over the last 3 years, we have trained more than 5,000 students across all of these certifications courses that you see on the screen. And today we're going to talk about AI for Finance, which is one of the most, I would say, recent program that we launched last year, and it has been one of the most popular ones since then. And yeah, that is a little bit about me and FA Professional Institute. With that, I'll go back to Dhawal and we'll get started with the session today.
Thank you, Asif. Always a pleasure to partner with you. A quick roadmap of today's session. What are we going to cover in the next 60 minutes? We'll try and understand what are the CFO's expectation from AI, or what is the CFO's vision for AI. And then different levels of AI, depending on the complexity and the usage. There are different levels of AI usage. And then different AI in finance use cases. There are plenty of use cases. Again, we'll try and cover some of the examples which we have been incorporating in our daily life as part of an FP&A role. And then we'll, of course, have some time for Q&A and any specific questions that you might have as well. Okay. So all in all, an exciting session. We'll not spend too much time on theory. We'll not spend too much. I'm pretty sure all of you are using AI tools for basic stuff like email or even making presentations for that matter. You already know all of those things. We'll try and cover some unique use cases for specifically finance and FP&A so that you get an idea of what are the possibilities that AI can help you with. Okay, so let's get started. Again, quickly, CFOs AI vision. So primarily they are expecting three or four things with AI, right? So what they are expecting: efficiency, that is basically automating repetitive tasks, becoming more efficient. Insights, insights that are not possible to be generated in a quick way by human intervention, like which means that real-time insights or predictive insights or insights connected to the market. All of these things are possible because of AI and automation, which otherwise you will have to spend a time or wait for a certain report to come and then you will do that analysis. So that is what quick insights is something which CFOs are expecting. Agility, again, dynamic pricing, quick response to market changes, quick response to competition, all of that forms part of agility. And finally, innovation, unlocking new possibilities, pricing, business models, frontiers. That's what is innovation all about. So these are the broad 3 or 4 expectations of CFOs. There are even bold claims, or I've attended a couple of AI conferences, and there are claims of there are discussions about a one-person CFO office. Can you visualize a CFO sitting on top, and then everything is done by AI agents or AI employees, right? So that is a one-person CFO's office, which again, we are inching towards it, but not completely there yet. So that's the CFO's AI vision. And then what is the opportunity for finance professionals like you and me, right? Now that AI is coming and becoming mainstream to some extent, what is the opportunity that we have as individuals to leverage? So basically, all the opportunities can be categorized into 3 things. One is that we can automate stuff. We get rid of manual steps, automate our reconciliations, our forecast, our pricing, all of those things are possible, where we don't do the same repetitive tasks again and again, same monthly closing, same pricing, same things again and again, right? So automation is one of the possibilities that AI is unlocking for us. The second thing is augmenting. Augmenting is that imagine you have collectively power of 100 brains, 100 CFOs at your disposal. You can talk to them, you can chat with them. For example, I did an AI experiment where I asked ChatGPT that, hey, I am the CFO of or global CFO of Marks and Spencer's retail, and my CEO is asking me to come up with an AI implementation strategy or AI strategy for the retail business of Marks and Spencer's. Okay. And it asked me a bunch of questions. I started answering it, and it gave me a fair roadmap of how the strategic AI implementation plan in a Marks and Spencer's would be. Now, these things otherwise wouldn't have been possible. I'll have to call somebody and talk to an AI expert. But that is now at my fingertips and I can start asking questions. So that is where you're augmenting your own capabilities and bringing external power or brain power to your work as well. And then, of course, transform, completely automate certain processes or even autonomous processes. Like, for example, you might have already heard about things like a system doing its own follow-up, like a natural person, like a receivables follow-up, payables follow-up, or even responding to customer emails, right? All of that is already possible, and that is how you kind of transform your entire businesses through these automations as well. So automate, augment, and transform. These are the 3 possibilities that are available at a CFO's or finance professional's disposal. Now, what are the different levels of AI? Again, from basic automation to complete autonomous intelligence, right? So there are a range of different kind of AI available. Again, you will see a bunch of different definitions, bunch of different extensions of AI, but largely they can be summed up into 4 levels. One is your robotic process automation, and this existed probably since last decade or so, even before the AI boom as well, right? Where it is typically used to automate repetitive tasks. For example, recently I was in conversation with an insurance company CFO, and she said that more than 80% of the claims are now being automated. They are done through RPA. Only 20% of them have a certain level of back and forth where a claim processor is actually getting involved. Otherwise, 80% of the claims are now being dealt by RPA. So that is again an exciting use case for RPA. The next level is machine learning. Machine learning is where you are feeding the machine or feeding the data with past data, with different kind of company data. Could be contracts, your past financials, invoices data, or your billing data, whatever you want to fill it to the company. And the machine learns in itself, and then it can predict certain patterns. It could predict a revenue forecast or a fraud detection or a credit default. All of these things are possible through a machine learning capability. Then comes generative AI. Generative AI is where you are actually creating something. You're creating a commentary, you are creating a certain presentation, or you're asking a query in a natural language, and then the AI tool is able to give you a certain solution similar to ChatGPT. That's a classic example of a generative AI tool. And then finally comes agentic AI. Agentic AI is where it is almost functioning autonomously. For example, if AI can run a driverless car, which is again an agentic AI application, it can of course run a finance function autonomously, right? That is where you deploy agentic AI. Like, for example, I'm also part of a VC fund where I have invested in a company called Alchemist, which has created this sales agent, right? The sales agent can be deployed on your product and it will do the lead search, prospecting, calling, everything can be done. The other day I was in a conference where they showed a real estate AI agent. That AI agent actually called a certain person, said that, are you looking for a property? And then the person said, yes, I'm looking for a property in this area. This is my budget. So it started asking all the questions, what is the budget? What is the area that you're looking for? How big is your family? All of these basic questions. And then it booked the viewing appointment for the property on its own. Right? That is agentic AI, where you are adopting a certain level of autonomy in operations. So that is agentic AI. So again, 4 levels: robotic process automation, pretty much automating rule-based; machine learning, which will learn from your past data and then predict some things; generative AI, creation; and agentic AI, autonomous function. Yeah. Again, what are some of the use cases for AI in finance? Of course, there are plenty of use cases of AI use cases in finance. Of course, we'll not be able to show all of those to you. But again, to give you a broad perspective, right? So in FP&A, you can use it for budgeting, planning, forecasting, prediction, scenario planning; accounting and finance, automated reconciliations, book closures, journal entry passing, okay, variance analysis, all of those things can be done in accounting and financial close; treasury and cash management, again, cash flow forecasting, forex management, hedging, working capital analysis, credit management, all of those things are possible under treasury and cash management; financial reporting, in automated regulatory reporting preparation or generation of financial statements, consolidation, right, audit documentation, all of that is possible in financial reporting; risk and compliance, grading different levels of risk, monitoring risk KPIs, risk scoring and assessment, all of that is being done in risk and compliance. And again, finally, basic things like accounts payable, receivable, invoice processing, customer follow-ups, automated collection, automated reminders, all of that is already possible, which is happening through accounts receivable and payable use cases in finance. So there are plenty of use cases. Again, not all of them are, and we cannot show all of them, but we'll try and definitely show you some of them as well. Now, what is the current state of AI tools in finance? So whenever we think about AI, when people approach me to learn more about AI, they tell me, okay, they will tell me one tool which I need to learn. But unfortunately, it's not as simple as that, right? AI is a field in itself. It's not just one tool that you learn, one tool, and it can do everything for you. There are different use cases, there are different tools, there are general purpose tools, there are custom tools, there are enterprise level tools, right? So here is where this slide kind of sums up where we are in terms of tools today. Maybe 6 months down the line, it will be somewhere else. But this is where we are today in terms of tools, right? There are general purpose AI tools, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Copilot. All these are your general purpose AI tools, which are publicly available. You can use them at your disposal. Of course, there are privacy concerns, so you should not share your sensitive data or company data or even sensitive personal data like a bank statement or anything to these generative AI or general purpose AI tools. Then comes embedded AI. All your SAPs, oracles of this world are coming up with embedded AI functionality. The other day I was speaking to somebody from an FP&A tool called Jedox. Jedox has come up with a functionality where it can give you a ChatGPT style window on your right, okay? And you can ask questions to it which are fairly detailed. For example, earlier you have to go and do a drag and drop and then prepare a waterfall chart, let's say from Q1 to Q2. Let's say you want to understand the revenue variance between Q1 and Q2. You have to actually put a waterfall chart and understand. But here you don't need to put a waterfall chart. There'll be a ChatGPT style window. You can ask in natural language saying that, hey, I'm looking for Q1 and Q2, waterfall chart between Q1 and Q2. Give me the reasons for it, give me the positives and negatives. Stick to top 10 variances or top 5 variances and give me a waterfall chart for this particular product or a branch or a business unit, and system will automatically put a waterfall chart for you, right? That is embedded AI. Okay. Even Excel for that matter, right? So Excel AI window will also come in where you don't need to remember a formula. You can just say separate name with surname. Tool will automatically do it. You don't need to remember that formula, find one space, whatever. Right? All of that will go away. That is what is embedded AI as a functionality. Then comes specialized AI tools. You take a use case, it could be AP, AR, collection follow-ups, contract monitoring. All of these things will be specialized AI tool cases that will come into play as well. And then comes emerging solutions. Plenty of emerging solutions are coming, which is agentic AI, customized AI platforms, right? Again, autonomous finance agents. All of these things are different emerging solutions that are going to come into the market in the next 6 to 12 months for sure. Okay, so this is where we are in terms of tools, right? Of course, I'm pretty sure all of you have started using general purpose AI tools, right? And soon there will be enterprise grade AI tools which we will start using. in your day-to-day work as well. Okay. So right now, from a learning standpoint, what you need to understand is not a tool, but a skill set to talk to a tool, whatever the tool might be, whether it's an embedded AI tool or a general purpose tool. All you need to develop right now, okay, is to understand how do you talk to a tool, how do you prompt, what kind of a questions do you ask a tool. As long as you are able to understand this, you're fine. You don't need to master one tool at this point in time, because tools are evolving. Maybe 6 months down the line, something will become, maybe ChatGPT will become redundant and something else will come up. Or eventually ChatGPT will take over and all other tools will become redundant, something like that. Yeah. So this is where we are in terms of the status of tools. Okay. Now that we have a fair understanding, again, we don't want to spend too much time on theory, but in fact, try and show you some use cases as well. So we can quickly start with some use cases. I know a lot of you might be having questions on what tools or tools questions around security use cases. I'm sure you'll have a lot of questions, but we'll all take them in the end. We will have enough time for Q&A. Let's start with some of the use cases. Asif, you want to go ahead with the first one?
Yeah, let me start with the.
You went on mute, Asif.
Yeah, I was just asking to close the door to somebody. Okay, yeah, we can
Okay,
start.
okay.
Let
Right.
me share my screen. Okay. Let me know once you can see my screen. Okay. So is my screen visible?
Yeah, we can see it now, Asif.
Okay. So here what we are trying to do is, first of all, we are going to use ChatGPT for use cases that I'm showing in the next, right, whatever use cases I'll be showing. And this is a paid version of the ChatGPT tool. So in fact, I used to pay $19 a month until very recently. Now I'm paying somewhere around $4 to $5. Um, uh, in India, they introduce a lighter plan, and so I'm using right now a $5 plan equivalent of ChatGPT. So it is a paid tool. In the free version, you can do similar things. However, the functionality might be slightly restricted, or you may have limited number of uploads, or you may have limited access to the tokens. So to be able to do anything in I would say to be able to use it properly, you will definitely need a paid version of any AI tool that we are going to demo here. However, for practice, you can still use the free version. However, there will be certain limitations. So there are 3 or 4 use cases we'll cover today. The first one is on analyzing any detailed documents or any report, which might be, say, a 200-page report or a 500-page report. So let me just share an example of one of the reports that I have downloaded. So this is a annual report which is typically 500 plus pages. So I've downloaded an annual report of one of the organizations from the website, the company website, and it's a 590-page document. And if I want to analyze this document, or if I want to get some insight out of it, typically earlier, whatever I am going to show you in ChatGPT now would have taken me at least 10 to 15 hours, which is basically 2 working days, which we can now do in less than 20 minutes. Okay. So this is analysis of annual report. So let me show you the ChatGPT interface where I've done some of the queries which you can see. Okay, so what I did was I've uploaded the annual report, the 500-page document that I just showed you in ChatGPT. And after uploading the document, I have given it certain instructions. Okay, these instructions are basis my experience of using the tool in the past. Okay, so I'm telling ChatGPT exactly what steps to follow. For example, I'll not read the entire prompt, but I'm telling identify key sections of the report. So it has to identify different parts of the report, which is going to be financial statements, auditor report, management discussion and analysis. It has to understand different sections of the report, extract financial data out of it. So I'll be wanting it to do a lot of analysis in the next steps or the next prompts that I give. So I want it to be able to extract the income statement data or the revenue data or financial data. So I'm asking it to extract the financial data. Also, I'm asking it to analyze trends. So I'll be asking it to do analysis in terms of the revenues for last 3 years or profits or operating profits for last 3 years. So I'm also asking it to analyze. So I've given it a detailed step-by-step guidance. Very similar to what I would have given to somebody who's working in my team or one intern that I would have probably given this task for doing the research, and then I would have reviewed it. Okay, I'm also asking it to give it in a very specific output format. Okay, so I'm asking it a paragraph format. You can ask it in different formats that you want. You can ask for bullet points, you can ask for Word document, you can ask for PowerPoint, whatever format you want. You have to specify that so that it will give you exactly in that output format. Okay, any other notes that you want to add based on your experience, you can then add. So what I'm doing is I'm not just asking it to analyze the annual report. I'm giving it very detailed steps and also the exact output format that I need. Okay, once I do that, it gave me a very concise summary of the annual report looking at the PDF document. Okay, so it gave the financial and the operational insights in a couple of paragraphs, segment related highlights in two bullet points, and which is very, I would say, I would have probably taken 2 to 3 hours to read the report and then be able to come up with this level of summary or this level of insights. Okay, so that was the first step where I uploaded a 500 plus page document and asked ChatGPT to identify different sections and analyze, and then give me a output, which is a summary of the entire document, which are the key points. Okay, so this is the first prompt that I gave. Okay, next, what I did was I wanted to analyze the revenues for the last few years. So I again gave it the same detailed prompt. From the PDF document, analyze revenue trends for the past 3 years and provide commentary on the company's growth. Okay, and maybe certain more instructions like based on whatever I want it to do exactly. Okay, so once I do that, it gave me exactly the revenue numbers for the last 3 years, 23 to 25, along with the year-on-year growth rate and also the key commentary for each of the years. So for 2023, it mentioned it was a post-pandemic recovery year. 2024 was strong performance across all of these business units. In 2025, the growth plateaued due to macroeconomic slowdown. So it gave me good, decent commentary for each of the revenue numbers for each of the years, and also more detailed commentary in bullet point format, segment wise for revenues. Okay, so this is a good revenue analysis that it did based on the annual report, which probably it would have taken me good 2 3 hours to be able to read it and then come to this level of analysis. After doing a revenue analysis, I asked it to do operating profit or profitability analysis. So it could not find the, again, I gave it a prompt, a detailed prompt, analyze the trends in gross profit and the operating profits for past 3 years. Okay, so it could not find the gross profit or the operating profit number, but it understood the that EBIT or EBITDA is a good proxy for the gross profit or operating profit. So it did all the analysis based on EBITDA. Okay, so it picked up the EBITDA as a proxy for operating profit, which I did not mention, and it did all the analysis on the EBITDA, and it gave me the analysis commentary for EBITDA for 2023, 2024, 2025, and then overall summary for the entire 3 years, okay, which was a good insight for the profitability analysis for the last 3 years. Okay. Now, this I asked it to identify and give me the strategic priorities of the companies for the upcoming year. So now I'm talking about the future. Okay, and usually the companies talk about the future plans in their management discussion analysis, which it identified. Okay, from the MDA, it directly picked up the strategic priorities from 2026 for the next financial year, and it gave the top things that the company will be focusing on for different business units. Okay, so accelerating in the EV transition is the most important priority. Then digital and AI driven transformation is the second one. It gave all the priorities that the company is focusing on in the next year. Okay, this is coming basically from the MDA section of the annual report. Okay, so I did a good bit of analysis. It is all would have taken me to do. Maybe I would have read the report and then manually, if I had done this, it would have been taken maybe 5 to 6 hours easily. Okay. Then I asked it to create a PowerPoint presentation based on whatever research I have done in the previous prompt. So I wanted everything in a PowerPoint presentation that I could present. Okay, so it gave me a good PowerPoint summary after running the Python script in the backend. Okay, and this is a PowerPoint report that I could download. Okay, now it gave me a decent PowerPoint output, but the PowerPoint output it gave was not very, I would say, friendly for presentation. It was a bullet point output that was without any design, without any graphs, without any, I would say, pictures. So I took that output from ChatGPT and then I uploaded that output in another AI tool, which is Gamma AI, which is one of the presentation tools or which you can use to enhance your presentation or create AI based presentation. Okay, so I uploaded the PowerPoint there and you can say create new. and you can import the file that you wanted to. So I exported the file from ChatGPT, imported it in Gamma, and then gave it certain prompts. I followed the instructions step by step, uploading the file and all of that. And then finally, I came up with this output, which was very, I would say, very realistic for somebody that, I mean, for someone who can present this directly to a CFO or a senior management. Although it requires some level of review to make sure there are no mistakes, but this was very good in terms of the presentation. It also picked up pictures, it also picked up charts based on the data that I had in the chat or the chat GPT output. Okay, so this was a use case where you could do analysis of any large document. In this case, we looked at the annual report, but it could be any large document which you want to analyze and then distill and then create a presentation around it. So this would have probably taken me another 3 to 4 hours to create the presentation manually. So overall, if you notice, good 8 to 10 hours of work was cut down into 15 to 20 minutes using two tools. So one is the ChatGPT paid version, and then the other one is the Gamma AI. So Gamma AI is also a paid tool. However, you can use it for certain limitations. So I think 10 slides you can create without paying it. If you need more than 10 slides, then you will have to pay the tool. So in this case, I generated only 10 slides. So I have just used a free version of the tool. I have not used a paid version of the tool. Okay. And one another limitation in the Gamma AI is that if you're using the free version and if you want to export it, so you can export it. You can say share and you can export. Okay. But when you export it, it will give you a watermark. So if you want to get rid of the watermark, which is maybe very irritating for professional, right, presentations. So here it says made with Gamma. So if you want to get rid of this watermark, then you'll have to get a paid version, even for the 10 slides or even for the limited number of slides. If you're fine with this, then you can use it for free for the 10 slides. Okay, so that was the first use case. So where we took the annual report and then analyzed it and then converted into a PPT within a matter of, I would say, 15 minutes or so.
Awesome.
Well,
Thanks, Asif. So, continuing with another ChatGPT use case. Here we saw ChatGPT and Gamma together. So I'm continuing with another use case. So
I think the one confirmation.
yeah. So when I was working with an advertising agency, one of the biggest challenges was to price the retainer. So the clients used to come back with a scope, and then we used to go back to them with a retainer amount. What is the monthly retainer amount? Whether they'll pay us $10,000 per month, $15,000 per month, whatever, right? So this pricing document, right, was typically in Excel. And as you all are aware that companies or rather the business stakeholders in the companies are not as comfortable using Excel sheets as finance professionals are, right? So here is how the pricing document looked like, right? So typically, let's say client name is client one, and here we want an SVP who will be spending 5% of his time, whatever his benchmark salary is, okay? And then we add the overheads loading. Basically, apart from the direct salary cost, there is an infrastructure cost, the overheads, management, indirect salaries, all of these things are your overhead charges. And then you add a agency markup for it, 15%, 20%, whatever you want to add as a markup. And then you total up all these designations. That gives you your monthly fee in dirhams, or here in this case, dirhams, then converted into US dollars, right? So this was a simple document that I used to send. Even though this Excel was so simple, people were making mistakes, people were not able to capture certain formulas, miss certain formulas. So I always wished at that point in time that, hey, can there be some self-service portal where people can fill in their time or the required time and the designation, and then people can actually come up with a pricing model or a pricing retainer fee for the clients, and thankfully today this is possible with ChatGPT as well. Let me just quickly show that to you. Yeah. So this is how I built a quick agency retainer simulator, right? So this is called agency retainer simulator. Basically, what it will do is it give you the retainer amount that you need to charge to your client. Okay. So I just shared a simple prompt here, say that I'm going to share with you an Excel sheet. It's the same Excel sheet that I just showed you. Study it and create an agency retainer price simulator in HTML. Okay, where the department head or the project manager will select the designation and the hours, and the system should give the retainer amount per month. As simple as that, right? So, and then it started, asking me certain questions. It tried to understand a few things. I said include markups and overheads, which I had missed earlier. And then finally, it started working on it. And it ran an HTML code in itself, which I have absolutely no idea what this is about. I'm just now going to click on preview. I hope the preview is still working. Yeah. So this is how the preview came, right? And this is how a simulator was already built. Now, what I'm going to do in this simulator is I'm just going to choose a file. Now, how this file looks like, I'll show that to you as well. So here is a quick rate card, which is more like a salary cost rate card. Okay. So an executive vice president is the rate card, hourly rate for executive vice president is 625, senior vice president is 500, account director is 188. Account director, don't go by the finance and accounting term. It's a customer facing account director, right? So these are the different designations. Okay. So these are my costing, or these are my direct costs, right? Or direct salary costs, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to choose this file. Okay. I'm going to go to my AI files folder. I'm just adding this rate card here, which was my designation wise rate card. And you will see that the rates are already populated here in this. Okay. So I can now select, let's say, a senior vice president, yeah, a senior vice president, and decide how many hours is that person going to spend. Let's say this person is going to spend 5 hours on this client every month. Yeah. So I'm going to add just 5 hours. Yeah. And let's say I'm going to add an account director. Oh, sorry. Just give me a second. Senior vice president, 5 hours. I'm going to add another line item and say account director or associate director. Let's say, where is account director? Yeah, account director. Let's say we'll give, let's say, 50 hours per month. Yeah, and then maybe we need one account executive as well. So let's say we add another account executive who's going to dedicate his full time. So let's say 160 hours a month, right? So that was a standard. So you'll say 160 hours. So this way I can add this. And I can also quickly name it. Let's say a client is coming to me. Let's say DHL. Yeah. So DHL social media retainer. Yeah. I'm just going to give this a client name. It's asking me for billable days and all this basic information. And then I'm going to also cover the overhead. So let's say I'm going to do 105% as my overhead addition. And then maybe I'm going to charge a 25% markup. I want to leave some room for negotiation as well if the client comes back with a negotiation. Typically, 5% is a VAT in the UAE, and 85% utilization is where not everybody is able to do 100% of their time, right? So there will be some admin time, downtime, leave time as well. So 85% is the general utilization that I'm taking here. Okay. And with all of this data, I'm now adding the time for each of these designations. It gave me a base cost, and then it added the overhead loading, then markup was loaded, and then 65,000 dirhams is the retainer that it gave me, right? So this is a simple tool. I can add as many roles as possible. I can change this sheet. I can change the pricing, right? This is something which will be easy. Now imagine if there is a complex pricing formula. Imagine an interior design firm or an architecture firm where they have to select a lot of items from the BOQ and then finally come at a pricing, right? So this will be something which will be very helpful as well. And of course, they can print it, save it, export it, whatever. Right now, I have not enabled those buttons, but that is also pretty much possible as well. So here is a quick agency price simulator where it allows me to compute the monthly retainer fee that I'm going to charge to a client. Again, very practical use case, which I really wished if there was something like this when I was working as a CFO of an advertising agency. Yeah, so this is one of the use cases. Okay. Cool. Again, this is all, I have not coded anything. This is all HTML on its own, right? It has coded whatever basis my instruction says. I'm not given it any particular specifications. All right. So let's move for some other use cases. Asif, what do we have in store next?
Yeah, so let me get back and share screen. Okay, so we looked at the use case where we did detailed analysis on annual report. Here, what we'll do next is we'll try to do some more analysis, and let me get back to the AI chat window. Okay, so in the next one, what we will do is we'll do some ratio analysis, which is one of the common analysis usually finance professionals do when they're analyzing any organization or any company, any client. They usually start with ratio analysis. A ratio analysis is typically your ratios which you calculate, which are the common ones, including the activity ratio, which includes your inventory turnover, receivables turnover, liquidity ratios, which is your current ratio, quick ratio, profitability ratio, which is your net profit margin, return on investment, return on assets. Okay, so these are the ratios that I am talking about. Okay, so there are two examples. Quickly, I'll share both of them. Okay, in the first example, what I'm doing is I'm sharing the same document, which was the Tata Motors annual report. This time, I am asking the report does not have ratios in it. The report only has the financial statements in it. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm attaching the annual report, and I'm asking ChatGPT to perform ratio analysis based on the annual report, comparing the different ratios across the periods that are there in the report. Again, I'm giving it very detailed instructions where I'm asking it to calculate activity ratios, liquidity ratios. I'm also giving certain instructions about exactly how I want the analysis to be done and in what format I want the output. Okay. So once I do that, I'm also saying that the output should be tabulated or a list. Compare the trends and give me some comparison from previous year. So I'm giving a detailed output format as well. Once I do that, it uh, took some time. Okay, so usually it gives the output very immediately. It took 2 minutes to process, and after processing for 2 minutes and 8 seconds, it started giving me the ratios which I wanted. Okay, so it gave me the activity ratios, liquidity ratios, all calculated. Basis the annual report that you can see here, the source it says Tata Motors AIR 2024 2025, meaning it has calculated all of this from the annual report. Okay, now once it gave me all the calculations, I asked for more analysis. Okay, so then what it did, it compared 2025 and 2024, also the changes versus previous year. Okay, along with some commentaries which you can see. For example, I'll just read out one or two. So inventory turnover last year it was 6.16. This year it is 5.72. So it is reduced by 7% or 7.1%. And it gives me a detailed commentary saying that a slight decline suggests lower inventory movement due to higher year-end inventory as a company prepare for. So it gave me certain level of analysis commentary as well for the not just the calculation but also what has changed and what could be the potential reason for the change. So all the ratios which we discussed along with the changes from the previous year and also the analysis or the commentary that you see. Okay. So this is what you could also do. You could use it as a tool for doing analysis calculations that we just saw an example, which is the ratio analysis. Okay, so this was an example where we gave it the annual report. I also did another example where use case where I wanted to check the accuracy of ChatGPT in terms of how accurately it is calculating the ratios. Okay, so I did the same exercise in the Excel file. So I took a set of income statement and balance sheet. So in the FS tab here in the Excel file, you can see the income statement and below that you see the balance sheet. So I took the income statement balance sheet and I calculated all the ratios that we looked at, liquidity ratios, activity ratios, all the 25 different ratios using the income statement balance sheet, linking it to each other and then calculating manually in Excel. Okay, so this is probably entire exercise would have taken me easily 3 to 4 hours to uh, link all the income statement and the balance sheet numbers and calculate all the ratios manually. Not only I needed time, also I needed to know the formulas. I also needed to understand what exactly the ratio is. Okay, so for all of this to happen. Okay, so this is what I used to do in Excel earlier. Now what I did was, let me do the same thing in the AI tool. Okay, so I just took the images of the income statement. I not even uploaded the file. I've just taken a picture of the income statement. This is the income statement exactly same as what we have here. And the picture of the balance sheet, which is exactly what we have here. Okay. And I asked ChatGPT to calculate the financial ratios using the income statement and balance sheet that I have shared and calculate all the ratios. Okay. So just to make sure that it doesn't use different formulas. So sometimes the ratios might have different formulas. Okay. For example, inventory turnover ratio could be COGS divided by end of period inventory. It could also be COGS divided by average inventory, depending on how you want the result to look like, right? So that I wanted to make sure it is consistent. I gave it the exact formulas that I would use and asked it to calculate the ratios. Okay. After again doing the Python script in the backend, it gave me the final output of the calculated ratios. And when I compared all of the output, so for example, let me compare the inventory turnover ratio. Okay. So when I calculated manually in Excel, where is the inventory turnover ratio? Okay, so this is the inventory turnover ratio. It is 6.12 for 2023 and 5.87 for 2022. It exactly gave me the same result, 6.12 and 5.87. I checked all the ratios, all the 20 different ratios, and 99.9% of the ones were accurate. And even the 1% cases or 0.1% cases where it was wrong, it was because of me giving it some wrong formula, or maybe it was a rounding off error or something. Okay, so if you give the right instructions, it is fairly accurate, but you still need to be able to check it because it says at the bottom here, right, ChatGPT can still make mistakes. You cannot trust it blindly. Although if you provide the right prompt and you take care of all the things that could go wrong and then create the prompt, you can fairly expect it to get it 99.9% accurate. Okay, so this is another way where you could, if you have a P&L balance sheet and if you want to calculate ratios, rather than spending maybe 4 hours doing it manually, you could get it run on ChatGPT in 10 minutes and then maybe spend another 20 minutes to just check it instead of doing it manually. So this is another use case that you could do for analysis, which is doing ratio analysis. Either you could upload the annual report and calculate the ratios, or you could upload the income statement balance sheet and then ask the tool to calculate the ratios. But make sure that you check and thoroughly vet the results that it is giving. Okay, hope this was interesting. Let me stop sharing my screen and we'll go back to Dhawal for another use case.
Thanks, Asif. Cool. So after seeing ChatGPT and Gamma in action, so there is one more tool which I have been extensively using since probably last 6 months, and that is the closest that you can get to agentic AI. It's almost acts like an employee. It can do a lot of things on its own, right? So here is one quick use case that I will show to you. Before that, let me also show the file that I shared with Manus, which is the agentic AI tool. And then I'll tell you what I asked it to do. Just give me a second. Yeah. Again, this is a practical FP&A use case example. So where I have a P&L budget for 2024. So if you see this P&L, so here we can see the budget for 2024, budgeted numbers for 2024, and then we have the actual numbers for 22, 23, and 21. Okay. And this you can see there is revenue, there is unidentified new business, there is total revenue, different staff costs, salaries, and different rental cost, establishment cost, travel, promotion, almost every set of an expense. This is an actual use case that is an actual file that I used to use some time ago. The numbers are changed for educational purposes. So this is an actual budget. And not only this P&L, there is also a department-wise budget available as well. So department-wise profitability available as well, which is showing you these are the different departments. Don't go by the internal department. These are actually client-facing departments. There's corporate customer, consumer, electronics business, electronics facing clients, right? Healthcare business. So this is an advertising agency which is catering to these different set of clients, and these are these different departments. Each department has a revenue, different kind of salaries, overheads, profitability. All of that is already available here. There is a salary register, again, employee-wise salary register for confidentiality. Then again, there is a freelancer cost. So overheads uplift percentage, how was it computed? All that formula is here. Okay. So now once my budget presentation is ready, typically you want to use or you want to prepare your budget presentation in a PowerPoint format, and you go into the budget presentation meeting with the CEO, with the business unit heads or whatever, right? So typically we have to prepare that budget presentation from scratch. So I thought, let me check if Manus, which is like an AI agent, can actually prepare the presentation for me. So let me just quickly share with you. So here is how the CFO presentation came out. Let me just quickly share with you what I did. I shared the same file that I mentioned you just now. I gave a prompt saying that I'm going to share with you this P&L has budget for 2024 and also the actuals for the previous years. Study this P&L in depth, act like an FP&A expert FP&A leader, and using the best practices in storytelling and presentation, prepare a presentation for the CFO, who will then use it to present it to the CEO. So I'm giving the character, the context, and everything around what I really wanted to think and do. And I'm looking at an 8 to 10 slide presentation with key insights. Feel free to use appropriate visuals to make it sharp. Make sure you keep the slides less text heavy. I don't want too many tables and too much of text on the slides. I want it to be visually attractive and minimalistic. The presentation should be landscape format 16:9. And this is important to specify because the presentation size will then be the shorter format, which we want the full landscape format presentation, right? So that's why we have to mention that I need a landscape 16:9 format. Okay. So then I pasted that file. Okay. And then it asked me, I said, I understood, I'm preparing the presentation. It started working. This is more like a log that it tells us that it has started executing the command, started preparing for it. Then it started giving the slides outline. And then when it was preparing this, I was reviewing it and I saw that in the slides outline, the department-wise profitability, which we saw in the Excel sheet, basically this sheet, right? So there is a summary P&L by practice. This sheet was actually missing and there were no insights around this. So then I just quickly asked it to add that. And the best part about NS is that you can give instructions in between the operation as well. Unlike ChatGPT, where we have to wait till the outcome comes and then the chat window gets opened and then you have to instruct it again. You can instruct Manus at any time, right? So then what I did was I saw that the department-wise presentation slides were missing. So I asked it to add the department-wise presentation slides as well. And then finally, why have you not included the information about department-wise profitability? So this is what I asked, and then it started including the department-wise profitability slides as well, and finally gave me a edited version of it. And this is how it looks like. Let me try and show it to you. It did a great job. I mean, I would say probably did 80% of the work. Just 1 second. Yeah. So this is how the presentation looks like. Okay, just give it a second. It's loading. Yeah. So this is how the presentation looks like. I mean, we can of course edit all the titles and everything, but I have not changed anything. I've just kept it as it is. See 2023 comparison with 2024. 2024 is already highlighting the concerns. In this particular case, what has happened is that the 2024 revenue number is dipping by 1%, okay, and the margins are dipping by good 6-7%, compared to revenue. That's why you will see that EBITDA margin has dropped, margin compression, revenue change by 1%, staff cost ratio has increased to 56.7% compared to 49.4%. It gave us the 2023 comparison as well. And then some critical focus areas, basically it's trying to build a story or a narrative, revenue stabilization, staff cost optimization, operating leverage improvement. Again, started analyzing and giving commentaries on its own. Then 21, 22, 23, and 24, just a quick comparative number, again, an optional slide to use. Then some vertical bar charts as well around what is the revenue, what is the operating profit. You can see that revenue has almost remained stagnant, but the operating margin has come down here from 8.4 to 6.3. So that is clearly visible here. Again, some highlights, what do we need to do? Revenue growth, for some things, EBITDA growth. It is giving me some insights. Key concerns for, again, this is a 2023 performance highlight. Typically, when you are going into a budget presentation, you start with the previous year's performance and then you talk about the next upcoming year's performance, right? So again, 2024 is highlighting the key concerns, that is a revenue, EBITDA, and margin concern, right? I notice also the color coding, right? It's smart to understand that where there is attention or where there's a concern, it is actually using red, and where there is positive, it is using either a neutral color like a blue or a green, right? And then what are the root causes behind 2024 budget challenges? The staff cost has increased, staff cost ratio has increased, right? Operating leverage is negative, right? So that is mentioning. Again, what is the total cost? Total cost is $20.7 million. What are my dominating costs? Staff costs form the highest, which is 70%, 74% of the total operating costs, giving us some analysis as well. This is where it got very interesting. So it gave me the department-wise profitability as well, right? Look at how smartly it has arranged a horizontal bar chart in a descending order, where it is telling me my most profitable department or most successful department to the ones which are not profitable. My top 3 performing departments, my loss-making department, it is giving me all that information as well. And this to me was actually the highlight of the presentation, where it used a nice 2x2 matrix, where on the x-axis you will see revenue in $1 million, and on the y-axis you will see profitability. So it simply divided into a BCG metric style kind of a graph, where it is giving me this thermometer as well from red to green. And it is giving me this information that, okay, these green departments that you see, regional and corporate, are my high revenue, high profitable departments. Okay. And these are somewhere in the average. And these are my concern or loss-making departments like healthcare and government relations are my loss-making or low to no profit kind of a department, right? So this is also driving my conversation with the business team members or business. Imagine I'm sitting in a budget presentation meeting, and this also helps me kind of focus on the concerned departments as well and lead the meeting towards that attention as well. So I really like the thermometer and the BCG style 2x2 matrix presentation as well. Okay. Again, department compensation efficiency, it's highlighting the compensation cost, because in this particular financial year, the compensation cost or the salary cost has shot up, right? So it is asking me that it has already calculated a benchmark basis the past trends, because it already had 4 years of data. It knows that the target range is 50 to 55%. So these are the departments which are above that benchmark. These are the departments which are most efficient. Also giving me a nice horizontal bar chart. Look at the color coding as well. It's giving me these concerned departments which are above benchmark in red, and the other one or in orangish color, and then these are in blue color, which are okay and below the benchmark as well. Again, staff cost discussion. Again, some commentary around what needs to happen, which department is critical, what do we need to do, again, how can we bring it to success, how can we achieve some efficiency, again, some basic suggestions. Again, some deeper analysis about staff cost, some measures to mitigate risks and everything. Again, all this is their own, its own commentary, which is okay, which is fairly accurate. It's not, it's optional for us to use. So this is how it created a nice presentation, pretty decent. I would say it probably did 80% of my task, and then I can or refine it for the balance 20% and then use it to present it to the CFO or the CEO as well. Okay. Now, this is again still, it has done this with some basic prompting and basic Excel files, right? And as and when we progress, this will keep getting better, right? It'll do most of your tasks. It'll do the analysis. It'll do the presentation. And probably your task is to just review stuff as well, right? This is again an exciting use case on Manus. Manus is like, again, the closest to AI agents. Closest to AI agent, it can do a lot of things. Again, in the bigger course that we do, we have covered a lot of use cases around Manus as well. Again, all this is through the paid version. Asif, do we have any other use cases? Time for any other use cases, or quickly let me just quickly show a couple of them and then we can move to the next section.
Yeah, I think in the interest of time, we can go ahead with the next.
Okay, cool. So I did some more experiments with Manus. Manus and I can quickly show them to you as well. Here is a quick rent versus buy calculator that I created in HTML again. So here I can fill in my details. Again, these are specific to UAE because I'm based in Dubai. And this is specific to UAE, so you can fill in all your details. And it gives you an information about when you are breaking even, how much time it is to break even, when you are better off rent or when you're better off to buy. All of that information is given here. Again, a simple rent versus buy calculator. Again, with zero coding, just some basic instructions to ChatGPT. Then with Manus, a lot of sophisticated website creation is also possible. Here is one example where I created a FP&A tool ROI calculator website, right? And let me just quickly share this with you in the chat box as well. And this is again with absolutely no coding and simple instructions, where it looks a nice looking website. But let's say, for example, I'm a CFO. I want to implement an FP&A tool in my company. Okay. But I don't know what tool do you go for. How do I justify it? How do I build a business case with my CEO that I need a tool, right? So in that, you can use this comprehensive calculator. Let us start using quickly. Again, I'm not going to spend too much time on this. This has 10 different sections here. What is the time savings that I'm going to achieve by using this tool? How much is the personal cost saving? What is the savings due to error reduction, process efficiency? It is asking you all these details, and you can keep filling in some details around it. How it will help in decision making, how it will help in compliance and governance, what are the benefits, what is the strategic value. So you can fill in all these multiple inputs, right? And then you can continue to cost. You understood the benefits of this implementing an FP&A tool, then you go for cost. Again, look at the exhaustive listing of the cost. First of all, there'll be tool licensing cost, then there'll be implementation cost, could be one time, could be retainer. You need to train your staff, so there'll be a training cost. There'll be support and maintenance, infrastructure, integrations. Maybe you want to integrate your FP&A tool with your CRM. Maybe you want to integrate your FP&A tool with your contract management software, right? You need some personnel, or what is the kind of contract personnel you might require. You might require some third-party services, other charges or miscellaneous charges as well. So all of these costs you point of populate, and then you go to view the ROI results, and gives you a nice graphical analysis that this is what you will be spending, this is when you will be breaking even, this is the benefit cost to benefit ratio, right? It is giving you the entire benefit analysis, where all the benefits are coming from, cost analysis, where the cost is coming from, a timeline view of when you will break even. All of that is given. Again, try and play around with this. This is a free website for you, or for you all to play with, right? So again, this is created with zero coding, right? Only simply prompting. If you ask me the total time it took me, probably about 1.5 hours it took me to build this entire tool calculator. Okay. I did some prompting. I gave it some things that I want to cover an exhaustive list of costs. I want to cover an exhaustive list of benefits. All of these things I gave the prompts first, and then it started giving me certain inputs. Then I started asking it questions. And then finally I said, okay, now you build a comprehensive website for me, which will be in a tool calculator. And then it built the website on its own. Okay. And there are multiple tools to build websites and apps these days. There is a tool called Lovable.ai, which is helping you build a tool or an app on your own with low to no code kind of a situation. But this is again one example where I used Manus to build a calculator as well. Again, now that I'm out of my CFO role and full-time educator, I try to experiment with some education space as well. So where I use Manus to build a website which will teach the students on its own how to build an entire SaaS company budget. Okay. So simply you can look at this situation. Again, I'll share this in the chat box, try and play around with it. It's fun, right? So let me just quickly share this in the chat box. Yeah, look at your screens here. So again, you are appointed as a new FP&A manager with a promising startup. You need to build a budget with a $10 million annual recurring revenue. You are set up in the UAE. So make sure that all the dashboards and all the budget that you're preparing is as per the UAE costing as well. So I start building my budget, and once I start building my budget, it is asking me certain questions. In order to achieve 10 million ARR revenue, what do I need to do? How many subscribers need to add? What is the average pricing? What is the average growth rate, monthly churn rate? It is asking me all these questions. And as and when I play around with these numbers, it is giving me feedback here. It's like a coach. It is giving me feedback that, hey, this is the UAE market insights. This could be the pricing for your subscription product. This is what you need to achieve a $10 million ARR. At 5,000 subscribers, you're at $24 million. But maybe let's say I'll put 1,000. Let's say 1,000 subscribers is that I'm at $4.5 million ARR. I'm looking at a $10 million ARR. I can play around with these numbers. And after putting these inputs, then I'm again going to my cost of goods sold or cost. What will be my cloud hosting fees, customer support salaries, payment gateway. Again, next step, some gross margin review. What does my gross margin look like? Again, I click on some next step. It is asking me for some overheads or sales and marketing expenses. How much will be my sales team suck? What I want to spend on marketing, tools, softwares, all of these things. It is giving me a different kind of inputs. And finally, I go to the next step. Again, is asking me for some more research and development costs, engineering team salaries, blah, blah, blah. You can add as many fields as you want. Again, general and administrative expenses, office rent, utilities, HR costs. And then finally, you go and it will give you your entire budget built as well. The best part is that this is an education website. So it is, as and when you fill in your numbers, it is actually giving you inputs that for a $10 million company, this is too much of an HR cost you're spending, right? You can reduce your HR cost by this much. It's giving you that feedback like a coach as well, right? And then finally you review and finally you submit your budget. Or, there are also options to add to download it to Excel. All of that is possible. I've not added that complication yet, but just this is more like a self-service or a self-coaching website, which will explain to you everything about building a SaaS company budget. So again, there are multiple experiments and use cases that are possible with this kind of a tool as well. Okay, so this is Manus for you. All right. So let me quickly come back to the slides. I hope you found all of those use cases helpful. Now that you have understood a little bit about what AI can do for you, what ChatGPT can do for you, what different kind of tools can do for you, you realize how amazing it would be to learn all these skill sets, because these are all coming. They are here to, we have started now seeing job profiles where they're asking for AI skill sets. So make sure that you are a step ahead to learn those AI skill sets as well. So what we are doing now is that in order for you to upskill with the relevant AI skills, we have come up with the AI for FP&A, Finance and FP&A Masterclass. This is a live online program, which is a 4 weeks course where we are covering the basics of AI and generative AI tools, multiple chat use cases, Copilot use cases, different tools like Manus, Gemini, Copilot, all of those use cases and applications. We are trying to cover as many tools as possible. And again, something which is not from an engineer standpoint, something which is very common person, finance person like you and me, how we can use this in our different workflow. That's what we're trying to cover in this, very less theory, mostly all practical use cases, try and cover as many use cases as possible. We're just able to show a few of them to you because of, in the interest of time. So this is a live program. The live program, it's again, easy live lessons for your convenience, because we know all of us buy recorded courses, but never complete them. All you need to do is spend about 2 to 3 hours a week, and you can start seeing results in 30 days. You can start incorporating all these tools in your workflow. And 100% practical case studies and examples from our own work life that we have been using on a day-to-day basis. You will get a certification from FP&A Professionals Institute. We also do a lot of monthly Q&A sessions, guest sessions, where you can directly solve or address any of the questions that you have. We'll also be part of a global alumni community. FP&A courses and AI for FP&A courses are taken by students from all over the world. So you will be part of a global community as well. Okay. So the live cohort of AI for Finance and FP&A Masterclass is starting on 8th of November, which is this coming Saturday. Okay, seats are already getting fast filled. This Saturday, we are going to start from 10 a.m. to 12 noon IST. So 2 hours live is all you need to give for getting slightly ahead in terms of your AI for Finance and FP&A skill sets. The fees for the AI for Finance and FP&A Masterclass is usually $247, but all of you are here in the webinar, being patiently listening to all the use cases, and I'm sure you are equally enthusiastic to learn. That's why we are offering you the program for just $197. You can use the code AI50 to enroll right away. Asif is sharing the links in the chat box. Again, no false deadlines that you need to enroll before midnight and all of that. Take your time, but the classes are starting this Saturday, right? So, and if you are serious about AI, if you want to be a step ahead in terms of your AI skill sets, then this is your best opportunity. It's guided learning, life coaching, plenty of use cases, practical use cases in finance and FP&A, right? So AI 50 is the code that you will be using to enroll. Asif has already shared the enrollment link in the chat box. Please use that. One question I always get asked is that which tool do I learn first, right? So there's nothing like that. Every day there is new tool coming out in the market. So I would rather bet on the skill set rather than the tool. Okay. You need to know how do you interact with machines. Start interacting with these tools. Start incorporating these tools in your steps. Right? Let's say, for example, in an FP&A function, you are using 5 steps to build a budget, company's budget. Maybe AI is not there yet to build the entire 5 steps. Maybe AI can build you 2 steps, 3 steps. Maybe the fourth and the fifth steps you will complete on your own. But start incorporating them. Start incorporating them in your workflow. Any thoughts, any questions? Feel free to unmute yourself and ask any question. We can discuss here. We have some time. Nobody? Either we are super clear or super overwhelming. I don't know which was the one. So I would suggest that start small, start with these kind of classes because the field is evolving. The field is evolving. And what you need to do is learn the skill set. Learn the skill set to talk to a tool, understand how you can incorporate it, understand the possibilities which the tool can offer. As long as you are able to do that, we are seeing a trend that in the next 6 months, 6 to 12 months, your company will come up with an enterprise solution where you will say, hey, this is the tool that we are using in the company. Okay. And you will start using that tool. It's be like ChatGPT. Now, let's say, for example, if I'm going to ask you, hey, can you refer to that rent contract and tell me when is the renewal due? Today, you have to go to that folder, find out where the rent contract is and ask it a question and see go to the contract and figure out the date, right? You will not do all of those things. There'll be one tool within the company. It will be like a chat window, ChatGPT style window. You'll ask it a question. Hey, when is this client contract ending? When is this renewal coming up? It will do the job. It will browse and then answer you. That's what is coming. Okay. Rule-based stuff will get automated. Okay. Analysis will remain. Presentations will remain. Business partnering will remain. That's why they focus on FP&A. All right. So if there are no more questions, then we can wrap up for today. Have a great rest of the week. Hopefully, we will see you in the masterclass on Saturday. Whatever is your decision, whether you decide to enroll into the course or not, let's make sure that you please start learning AI today. It's coming for your jobs, so make sure that you are ready with all the AI knowledge. Okay, all the very best. Asif and I are available on LinkedIn. If you have any questions, feel free to DM us, reach out to us on LinkedIn. We are always available to guide you. We have quit our high-paying CFO and FP&A leader jobs to start our institute. Make sure that we get future-ready finance professionals out there. So this is our full-time thing now. Feel free to reach out anytime you would like. All the best. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you so much. Bye.